Earnestly podcast coming to you October 16th, 2022. This is an instant reaction podcast to week number 6 in the NFL. I don't normally do these on Sunday nights. I actually attempted to do these a couple times in the first 5 weeks of the year, but just haven't any time, and Sundays are normally family days, and by the time we get to the Sunday night game, I'm exhausted and I really can't, don't really want to explain more energy because the work week starts and kids got to go to school early in the morning, all that. But this has been a wacky week in the NFL. It's been a wacky season in general. This has been a NFL season that's it goes zig, and when you think know things are going, what things are doing, what things are going on, it goes zag, and it goes zig again and zag again. I mean, we'll keep this short and simple, 10, 15 minutes probably at the most. The first thing I'm going to react to is the game of the year probably, and that's the Bills and the Chiefs. But the Bills, once again, for the second year in a row, in the regular season anyway, winning Kansas City in Arrowhead 24-20. And this is where I stand at right now with this. Barring any injuries moving forward, the Buffalo Bills today wrapped up the AFC, the number 1 seed in the AFC. Their schedule for starters is going to break real nice from number 1. And it's clear that with the rest of the NFL, it's such a cluster. I can't see it will be in the mix still. But I think after today, this was the bookend of the tough schedule they had out the gate, and they passed. And now they're 5-1 with a game lead over Kansas City and a tiebreaker, of course, over Kansas City. I don't see any other 8 team in the AFC challenging Buffalo for number 1 seed. Baltimore, as good as they are, can hold leads. They're 3-3 now. Cincinnati, good team, but they won't catch on to that. Chargers are banged up. There's no team in the AFC that's going to be able to catch a Buffalo. It's Kansas City to bust. Buffalo, at this point, has barring any injuries, major injuries rather, has the entire track number 1 seed. In fact, and this is significant for me to say too, because I believe that if they have the number 1 seed in the AFC, there is no team in the NFL, no team in the conference. I mean, and I'll say the NFL too, that will win in Buffalo, given the conditions, given the home field advantage, the crowd, how good they are. That's why this game was huge, because and don't forget too also, these teams have met 3 times the last couple of years. Twice in the playoffs, once in the regular season. High profile games. All 3 games were in Arrowhead. The difference now, and again, assuming things stay the way they are, the difference now will be most likely if the Buffalo Bills are number 1 seed and these 2 teams meet again in January. This time it'll be in Buffalo, in front of Bills Mafia, in that weather. Who knows how cold it'll be in January? We've seen the history of games in Buffalo, and yeah, it's not gonna be easy. And as good as Patrick Mahomes is, we've not seen him win playoff road games. And Buffalo is has a hosted a home. Well, they hosted a home game a couple of years ago, and I think last year too, especially in the first round. But to host it throughout the playoffs, that's going to be a tough task for any team, even Kansas City, to overcome. Buffalo already plays Kansas City well in Arrowhead, and now they're going to have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. So many things stay the way they are now. That's a lot. And I'll say it now also too, before we get to the next topic here. The power rankings, which were revealed on the Tuesday podcast, they're not going to change. Number 1, Buffalo's going to be number 1. Buffalo number 1. I'm recording this right now in the middle of the Eagles-Cowboys game. Third quarter is 20-3 Eagles. I suspect that score won't change much. So my top 3 will stay at 3. I think it'll most likely be, barring a comeback by the Cowboys here late. It's going to be Bills, Eagles, Cowboys. Bills, Eagles, Chiefs, sorry. But yeah, Buffalo's the best team in football right now. I don't get married to win-loss records and all that kind of stuff. It's just my eye test, who I see, who looks the part. Buffalo had a rough schedule out the gate, playing in Baltimore. The only loss is in Miami and in the Heat, and they almost won that game. Playing the Super Bowl champs, open the year, playing in Arrowhead, and they passed it. They won past, and in the games they're supposed to win, they won in the way you're supposed to. So they've done their job, and now the schedule is going to break well for them going forward. And they shouldn't lose much more than 2 games just away, in my opinion. So, the Buffalo Bills now have the inside track of number 1 seed in the AFC, and I don't see any team, barring injury, beating them or replacing them at the top of the AFC. All right, next thing here, the New York Giants. I can't believe they're 5-1. They should. Let me start here. This is a coaching miracle going on here in New York. Brian Daboll, I don't care what anybody says. Right now, through 6 weeks, Brian Daboll's coach of the year. It doesn't matter what people think. Oh, what was this? I don't care. He's coach of the year right now. They shouldn't have won that game today. Baltimore blew this game again. And this was a Lamar Jackson loss here, especially. And obviously where the Giants, or the Ravens rather, lost it here was on the 3rd down and 1 where Baltimore had the penalty, the motion penalty, move back 5 yards, and then 3rd and 6, the muff snap and Lamar catch the ball, and rather than running for the first down, I'll try at least get, in position where the punter can push the Giants back. He throws a untimely interception. Giants score on that drive, and then the next drive, the Giants force a turnover and win the game. This is a miracle by coaching. Because, again, the Giants, defensively, really good. And they got Saquon on the other side. But beyond that, that's all they have. So the fact they're 5-1 is pretty shocking. Even for me, as a fan of the team. Now, do they sustain this? Look at the schedule. They should, I guess at this point, we have to probably crack my top 10. Most likely, I'm not sure. I'm working on my top 10 right now. Obviously, tomorrow night's game's going to have some implications of that, too, because the Chargers are playing. They were a top 10 team last week in my rankings. We'll see how things shake out there against the Broncos. But I guess the Giants are a top 10 team by virtue of the record. I don't know if they're a top 10 team overall because, again, lack of talent and cut a lot of breaks, of course, like today and whatnot. But it is what it is. Sometimes you just catch those breaks, you get opportunities, and you take advantage of the opportunities. That's the NFL at large. So you got to give credit there. But we'll see how it shakes out. But Brian Daboll right now is the coach of the year right now. If the season ended today and we were basing everything on a 6-game sample, Brian Daboll is a runaway. The only other person I'm going to hear arguments for is Nick Sirianni in Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Maybe Arthur Smith in Atlanta. Speaking of the NFC and Atlanta and the NFC South, Tampa Buccaneers are likely to win the NFC South, but they look meh. How about this? Buccaneers are 3-3, Falcons 3-3. I think Saints are 2-4 now. Panthers are sorry. Again, the Bucs are going to probably win the NFC South because they're a better team across the board. This is the worst team in football. This is the worst division in football, probably. But man, they look so pedestrian, and I don't know. We'll see on Tuesday when they do the rankings. Are they still a top 10 team? Losing to Pittsburgh this week. Well, today. Tom Brady looks pedestrian, to say the least. And that's why Kenny Pickett going down in the second half of the game. And Mitchell Trubisky came in and saved the game for the Steelers. The Bucs are like the Rams this year. They have not put together a complete game this year. In either wins or losses. Is it part of his injuries? Yes. Part of it's probably Tom Brady, and again, Tom Brady. Obviously, he has a lot of issues off the field with the wife, with Giselle and whatnot, and he doesn't look happy. You see him like spouting and yelling and berating his offensive lineman, which is something he does not normally do. He doesn't seem to be enjoying football right now. That's for sure. The Bucs are still a playoff team, I guess. The Falcons are. Do we believe the Falcons would be a team that's going to win the division when it's all said and done? I don't know. I don't think so. But the thing is, they've been very competitive all year long. They're 3-3, and it's still within. And they've been, even in the games they've lost, they've had chances to win. Come hell high water, they've been competitive. They've been one of the most surprised teams in the league. Them in Seattle. And which another thing now here too. The NFC playoff picture is about like a clusterfuck now moving forward. Like, obviously we're only 6 weeks in, weeks to come, months to come. Look at the NFC. Like right now, I'm at a point now where I'm saying this: lock the Eagles in the East, lock the Vikings to win the North, because now they got a 2-game lead with the tiebreakers, Green Bay. I mean, again, Tampa will probably win the NFC South because they're a better team. They got Tom Brady, this and that. And I guess you can lock, the NFC South. The problem is right now you have so many 3-3 teams right now. Niners 3-3, Rams 3-3, Falcons 3-3, Seahawks 3-3, Packers 3-3. And then there's teams who are 2-4 hanging around if things break their way. It's like a cluster. Arizona had a chance to go 3-3 today. There's opportunity there. Which teams do you trust moving forward? Like, to me, if you ask me right now, who are my playoff locks right now? Right now, you have to say the Giants and the Cowboys are at least a locks in the NFC East right now, because they're starting to pull away from those 3-3 teams now. The Giants beating the Green Bay last week, there's a tiebreaker. You assume Green Bay's going to turn things around. What's going on with Green Bay? They're struggling too. San Francisco, I think the Rams' big win today, wasn't really impressive across the board. They won by 14, but that game was a close game into the fourth quarter. Against arguably the worst team in football, in my opinion, the Carolina Panthers, who just fired their coach last week, played with a backup quarterback. Like, what are we doing here? So there's a lot of head-scratching things right now going on in the NFC. I don't know. But it's a cluster. And it's fun. I love it. I think the Bucs will figure things out. I think the Niners and Rams, when those two teams figure things out, I don't think Seattle's good as they think they are. But Seattle, again, is hanging around. We got 3 teams in the NFC West right now at 3-3. It's a sickening and insane first quarter of the year here. Look up for that. Next week's NFL schedule is going to be putrid. There's only one game next week that features 2 teams over 500, and that's the Colts and the Titans. One is 3-2-1, one is 3-2. Decided bye weeks weekend in Tennessee. How about that? Technically, if you ask me the best game next week, it's probably going to be the Niners and the Chiefs. But the Niners are 3-3. The Chiefs obviously 4-2, don't try to bounce back. So that's probably the best game of the week. But man, we've had some really good weeks of teams that are record-wise matching up well and whatnot. And next week is the first week going to have a bunch of teams that are not the same thing, but a lot of narratives, a lot of mediocrity, a lot of cannibalizing too. Especially in the AFC, the Jets are 4-2. The Jets are 4-2. The Pats, low key, all of a sudden are starting to heat up a little bit now. Now they're 3-3 now, with Bailey Zappi at quarterback. Do we got a quarterback controversy in New England now? Do we? Like I said, I think the Ravens will be fine. Ravens and Bengals are going to win the division. Somebody's going to win that division between those two. Bills run away to the AFC East, of course. Jets are 4-2. They're not catching the Bills. Stop. Maybe we get a wild card. That's about it. You ain't catching the Bills. AFC South, we'll have a better definition about the division next week between the Colts and the Titans. The Colts have all of a sudden, out of nowhere, started to, let's just say they're playing better, but they won 2 in a row and they have a win record out of nowhere. 3-2-1. AFC West, it's still the Chiefs to lose. Chargers should be able to. Chargers hopefully might win a couple games, get healthy. We'll see what Denver does this weekend on Monday Night Football tomorrow. But it's a cluster, man. It's been a cluster across the board. The AFC is no better, and we love it. I absolutely love it. This is fun times here in the NFL. So, like I said, I want to get us in before Tuesday's show. When we go wrap up everything else and power rankings and have Kyle do the studio game report and dive into that. NBA season starts on Tuesday as well too. So I want to kind of get some of these narratives out now while I could. Quickly before I go, like I said, I want to keep it short and simple. It's a reaction podcast. My college football playoff 4 right now is follows. Number 1, Ohio State. Number 2, Georgia. Number 3, Tennessee, who does beat Alabama, and probably the game of the year right now. And number 4, Michigan, with an impressive win against Penn State. Michigan now has a cakewalk before they play Ohio State in late November. So, college football is kind of in the same boat. I wouldn't call Alabama this yet. Alabama only fell 3 spots at number 6 in the AP. They should be able to win most of their games. That's the way. Probably getting to see championship game. I think. I don't know. I'm gonna see how things play out. I mean, Tennessee obviously is the story right now for the weekend. Fantastic game, but we'll see what happens there. So this is my instant reaction to the weekend at large in both the NFL and college football. So just stay tuned here, and we'll be back on Tuesday with our regular podcast as the NBA season returns, and we'll have our usual NFL student report with Kyle and all that stuff we do on Tuesdays and of course Thursdays as well too. So talk to you guys later. God bless y'all, and we'll see you on Tuesday.